Okay, guys, we're going to be picking up right where we left off last time on the State of the Union. We're about halfway through it. Okay. Man, my back is killing me. Especially, like, to the right, on the hip area. At least it's not centered on the spine like it was with the fracture. Uh, I slept wrong. Let's get, well, first let's do our mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm sounding okay, I think. Fuck, already fucking yawning, not a good sign. Okay.
Fantastic man. Delilah, please. You are a great inspiration. Please stand up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
I covered this last night. We should cover anybody that can't read
And yesterday,
English.
as you probably saw at the White House, I
Can't
hosted a
get a
ceremony
commercial.
with Americans who lost their treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration. People came into our country, how we allowed this to happen with our open borders. These are the angel moms and families that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored. It was terrible. Hard to believe, actually. In 2023, a 16-year-old high school cheerleader named Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home to look for her, and she found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times.
Wow.
Elizabeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast. We don't want them. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you. We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, basically what he's hinting at there is the Democrats are taking in people, gaining them in their cities, just for like to count towards census and stuff like that, and in hopes for votes. because they can illegal aliens can vote, just not in the presidential election, but they still affect the electoral college. They still affect other, whether it's possible for them to affect other votes as well. And the thing is, it's not only the Democrats that use the illegals for stuff like that. Republicans do. Just the Democrats are the most recent ones to do it.
As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP. 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably
Not
made
much
them
left.
quite
I'll just
happy,
use
actually.
up the rest of it.
Now they have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, homeland security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice, we'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and
They
enact
need to be
serious
ended.
penalties
Sanctuary
for
cities
public
need to be
officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Elon or Omar or whatever the hell her name is, screaming about the 2 people that committed suicide by cop. saw
And
something about that
perhaps
on
most
Twitter today.
importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act. To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. The cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID.
I agree with this.
All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None.
Again, I agree with that as well. The mail-in ballots weren't originally meant to be just so people can be lazy and vote from home. They were meant for people to vote when they weren't able to vote the normal way.
And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats. 89%. And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good.
So you got to show ID to work, but not to vote.
Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree.
But I will add a caveat to this. If something is required by the government, I think the government should provide it. So if you need an ID for, like, because you're required to have an ID if a cop asks you for one, you're supposed to present it as long as they have a reason to ask you for it. So I think ID should be free by default. The government should provide them. You need a birth certificate to get an ID. So since ID is required, I think birth certificate henceforth is also required. So again, the government should provide this free of cost. Things that are not free of cost is like passports, because you don't actually need a passport unless you want to travel. Unless you want to leave the U.S. I can understand needing a passport then. So the government shouldn't have to provide that. Driver's license instead of an ID. Again, driving is not a right, it's a privilege. You're driving on the country's road, on the public roads. You don't have a right to that. It's a privilege granted to you by being a citizen. Oh, if you want to be technical, you have no rights. Everything you think is your rights is actually privileges provided by your country. But yeah, just since driving is a choice, because you can get to places by walking, even though it's more inconvenient, I think you should have to cover the driver's license on your own. But since the government actually requires an ID from you if the cops question you or stuff like that, or I guess now to vote, I think the government should provide the ID. Since the government requires like birth certificate and social security cards for other things, I think the government should provide those as well. The only thing is the optional stuff that you should have to pay for. Anything else that's actually required, I think the government should cover.
On the policy that we just enunciated, and Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens. And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
Yeah.
They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat, they have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John.
The left side's policies are pretty bad right now compared to what they used to be. The right side's policies aren't that great either, but they're not as bad as the left side's. This problem, we've had it for stinking decades, if not since, like, if not hundreds of years. Hell, George Carlin did a bit on it. Oh no, it wasn't George Carlin. Lewis Black did a bit on it. The Republicans have bad ideas, and the Democrats have no ideas. So basically, what Congress is a Republican will stand up and say, I have a really shitty idea. And a Democrat will stand up and say, and I'll make it even shittier. That's pretty much our governance system.
And here is one more opportunity to show common sense in government. In the gallery tonight are Sage Blair and her mother, Michelle. In 2021, Sage was 14 when school officials in Virginia sought to socially transition her to a new gender, treating her as a boy and hiding it from her parents. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Anybody that does shit like that needs to be removed from their position and probably fined and fucking imprisoned. Because that's pretty much grooming. You are not allowed to do stuff with students at a school without the parents' consent. That's why those fucking consent forms exist, why the permission slips exist. You cannot do shit with somebody's kids without their prior consent.
Before long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland. A left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son.
We need to install some way to remove some of these judges that are more on fucking standing on high horses and shit like that than actually following the law. If a judge is found to be how to put this, more ideological than judicial, then we need some way to remove them from their bench. We can't just force them to. We can't just wait for them to step down. We need some way to remove them. We need some way to impeach them. And I don't mean a group of judges should be able to do that. I mean the people should be able to. We need to be able to start votes to remove people that are fucking up. And I don't care what branch they're in. As long as they're in a place where they preside over regular people, like judges or any politician or any sheriff, we need some way to vote them out of office, out of their bench, out of their position. It's ridiculous that we don't have that option.
Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman with a full-ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up. And thank you for your great bravery. And who can believe that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous
Maybe I didn't
states.
choose the best video. I kind of like it to cut to the people he's talking about.
Without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state
Too
can be
late now.
allowed
We're over
to
halfway
rip
through.
children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we're even talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately.
If kids aren't old enough to decide to drink, if they're not old enough to decide to be able to sleep with people, then they're not old enough to go through surgeries that will change the rest of their fucking lives. If they can't make the choices in the prior things, they can't make the fucking choices and shit like that. Make up your fucking minds. Either they don't have the maturity to make choices, or they do. You can't have it both fucking ways.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Amazing. Gentlemen. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? No one cares more about protecting America's youth than our wonderful...
You know, if this is going to be treated like it's basically a stand-up comedy club, I'd really like to see just Trump start to, how do I put this? Blame the hecklers. Because we are hearing a bunch of them screaming out. So let's get this straight, guys. These people doing this shit are hecklers. That's exactly what they're fucking doing. So I think it would be completely appropriate for Trump to point out how they're pieces of shit.
First lady, now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it? Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure $30 million to launch the Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get none. She gets a lot. Someday you're going to have to tell me how you did that.
Because she looks way better than you. People are more often, or are more likely to listen to attractive women or just women in general than they are men as far as speaking goes. They might ignore what they say, but when they're speaking, they do listen.
And students and educators in every state have joined the First Lady's efforts in the presidential AI challenge, keeping America's next generation positioned to succeed and strongly succeed in the future. Tonight, we welcome two young people whose lives reflect the First Lady's impact, Sierra Burns and Everest Nevermont. Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much.
Speaking of First Ladies, when did education stop being a priority? I remember when I was younger, there was like the Get Ahead program or something like that. And then it became a catch-up problem, and then No Child Left Behind problem. As George Carlin says, sounds like we're losing fucking ground. Our school, our entire education system needs to be overhauled, and we need to start teaching people how to think again instead of what to think. Because most students now are taught what to think over how to think. You should give them the information and the knowledge on how to, basically how to analyze things, how to think stuff through, how to gather the information to make educated thoughts, instead of telling them what to think about certain subjects. You should basically give them information on the subject and teach them how to analyze it. So basically teach them how to think over what to think. Our school system's so fucked up. They made our school systems to where they're the perfect to where it gets people to where they're very easy to control. Instead of thinking on what should happen, they listen to what should happen. Our school system makes people into followers instead of thinkers. My mouth's kind of got a strong coffee application in it right now. Let's drink some water.
I'm very proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal.
I can care less about that. I'm an atheist. I don't think religion should mix with government. That's how it was originally meant to be, because the founders were fleeing religious persecution. So I don't think the two should mesh together. I don't like a lot of shit now. I don't like that you have to be sworn into court by a Bible. I don't like that people swear to God when they when they join in. I don't like that there's "in God we believe" on our money, even though it wasn't originally there. It was added as propaganda. But again, this stuff doesn't really matter. I don't like it's there, but it doesn't matter that it's there. I'm not going to demand it's removed. I'm not demanding that it's stopped. I just don't like that it's there. Because it doesn't really affect much. Once your religion starts affecting policies, that's when I'll start demanding change. But right now, as long as it's just symbolic instead of functional, it's okay. I prefer it not to be okay. I prefer it not to be there, but it's okay that it's there, since it's just symbolic and not functional. Okay.
This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk, a great guy, great man.
It's fucked what happened to Charlie Kirk. That type of thing should have never happened and should never happen. We need to bring back mental institutions. We need to do better security for people as well. It's fucking ridiculous. And I think it could have been preventable.
So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand.
Assassination is the worst thing you can do to your political opponents, because if you succeed, they become a martyr and it spreads the cause. If they survive, they become a surviving victim, which boosts their message. So either way, you lose. You remove them, but you create a stronger message. It's much more important to tear them apart as far as their views go. Not physically, You don't want to do shit to them physically. You want to basically demolish their views in public. Basically point out where they're wrong and what's flawed in their logic. That's how you take care of people who have an opposing view of you that you don't agree with. If you can't take apart their views, then there might be something wrong with your views. Just to point that out. If your views can't be taken out and their views can't be taken out, it just means there's not enough information known about the two views that that one can't cancel the other out. Basically, there's flaws in the views if they can't overwhelm the other view.
Thank you, Erica. Been through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence.
That line didn't used to be there. It used to be one nation indivisible, not one nation under God indivisible.
Of any kind.
Again, that line was added as propaganda during the Cold War. Just basically to say God is on our side.
We love religion, and we love bringing it back.
I do like a lot of religions. I don't agree with them, but they have some really good mythology, and I love mythology. I follow... I look into all kinds of mythology, and I love mythology so much. Especially a bunch of the demons and ghost stories of different mythos.
And it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Above all, unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities safe. We have made incredible strides, yet dangerous repeat offenders continue to be released by pro-crime Democrat politicians again and again. We are honored to be joined tonight by a woman who's been through hell, Anya Zaretska. In 2022, she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman, Irina, fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zaretska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
Okay, there's a lot of shit on Twitter going on about this part. When he said they came in through open borders, he was talking about Irina. He wasn't talking about the killer. If you pay attention to what he just said, he did not say that the killer was a immigrant. He said the girl was an immigrant from Ukraine, and she got stabbed in the neck and killed by a killer. And if you pay attention to what he's about to say, because again, this was on Twitter. So again, when he said came in through open borders, he's talking about the girl, not the killer. At least that's the gist of what I caught from Twitter.
How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that violent and dangerous repeat offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there.
Again, notice how he didn't say illegal immigrant. Now, California started something to address this very thing, which I believe has been repealed, called the three-strike law. If you commit the same crime 3 times, your punishment gets way worse. Basically, I think what he's suggesting is something like that being brought back. And again, California did this years ago. It's not a new thing. California, it's a fucking Democrat policy. Or was California ran by Republicans when that was done? But still, it's acceptable, but I think it should only apply to violent crimes, not like drug dealing. Because again, I don't think drugs should be illegal. Now, I'm clean. I don't take, well, I take gabapentin, or at least I'm supposed to. I ran out, and the medical company never came out like they're supposed to, and I don't have my card, so I don't know what number to call. The only real painkillers I take are these. Equate painkiller, acetaminophen. I don't take drugs. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't take cocaine. I don't take I did take hallucinogens. What are they called? Oxycodone when I was in the hospital, as well as a few other things as painkillers. They didn't kill my pain. They brought it down by they brought it down from a 10 to maybe a 9. But basically, I don't really do drugs, but I think drugs should be legal. I think I should have the option to do drugs if I want to, but I probably won't. I mean, marijuana is legal. I don't do marijuana. But I should have the option to.
Starting last summer, I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities, including Memphis, Tennessee, big success.
I'm zero tolerance when it comes to violence. If somebody's committing violence, I think they should have the book thrown at them. I think they should be automatically apprehended, and I don't care what force is used as long as it's necessary force. Just as much force is required to resolve the situation as fast as possible so it doesn't bleed over to other people. So basically, I'm zero tolerance when it comes to violent outbursts and shit like that.
New Orleans, Louisiana, big success, and our nation's capital itself, Washington, D.C., where we have almost no crime anymore.
Now, if the person's being nonviolent, I think it should be I think they should be addressed differently. So basically, I'm okay with like a person being slammed to the ground if they're physically resisting. If they're not physically resisting, just basically force them to the ground, but don't fucking do it. Don't do it in a fucking way that will cause extended injury and shit like that. Basically, the amount of violence used towards somebody should be equivalent to the amount of violence they're using against you.
Washington, D.C., how did that happen? In fact, crime in Washington is now at the lowest level ever recorded, and murders in D.C. this January were down close to 100% from a year ago. They don't like to hear that. One of the brave service members who helped achieve this stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she voluntarily extended her service, and her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud of her. But the very next day, she was on patrol near the White House when she was ambushed and shot in the head by a terrorist monster from Afghanistan. Shouldn't have been in our country.
Yep.
And all because she wore the uniform of our nation. She was shot. He traveled here because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick and deranged, shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah Beckstrom died in order to defend our capital, and we are honored to be joined by her wonderful parents, Gary and Eva Lee. Your daughter was a true American patriot, and she will be greatly missed. She was a great person. I saw reports on her. They've never seen anything like her.
Being from a military family, I do not like military people being hurt. At least not like this. I can understand if it's something they do, they bring upon themselves, but this lady didn't bring this upon herself. She was just basically there in a uniform, and the guy shot her just because she was in the uniform, because he's fucked in the head.
So sorry. Thank you very much. A great young lady. I saw reports that were like, perfect. She was perfect. Serving alongside Sarah that day was Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. The terrorist shot Andrew in the head, and no one thought he could possibly make it. The two of them, Sarah and Andrew, both shot violently in the head. Neither was expected to make it. They weren't even given a chance, except his wonderful mother, named Melody, who I spoke to the same night, and she was so positive. The doctors thought that Andrew was gone, but his mother said, no, Mr. President, Andrew will be fine. He's going to make it. I've never seen anything like it. I mean,
well, he took a bullet to the head.
He was given almost no chance. She said, I have no doubt, sir, he's going to be okay. This was a conversation that I had with her that night, with her son laying helplessly in bed, blood all over. Everybody is praying, she said, sir, he will be okay. The doctors didn't understand what she was saying, and after looking at the results of the damage done, neither did I. She was so strong and conclusive that even Andrew's great father felt she didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. But she turned out to be right. Right, Melody? She turned out to be right.
Mothers always can be optimistic, and this time she was proven right. In a lot of cases, they're not. She's a rare lucky one.
Amazing, actually. I said, where does this woman come from? She's the most positive person I've ever met. With God's help, Andrew has battled back from the edge of death, and we're talking about the edge of death, on his way to a miraculous recovery. He's got a little work to do, but he's doing great. Nice to see. He's a good-looking guy. Nice to see.
The fact that he's alive is amazing after being shot in the head. Iron Mouse is playing too. She's streaming too. She's playing The Walking Dead. Either that or she's watching The Walking Dead.
So Andrew, while you're up, now I'm going to ask a highly respected General James Seward to present Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf and the great family of Sarah Beckstrom with the award created by our late great President George Washington himself. It's called the Purple Heart.
Yep. Purple Heart, you get it for getting injured while in service, while you're on duty. Again, military family. I tried to join the Marines straight out of high school, but unfortunately, my height and weight ratio was not within. I was too fat. They didn't take me because I was too fat. I was actually fatter then than I am now. I was heavier in high school by I'm about 290 right now. I was around 320, so about 30 pounds heavier than I am now. Yeah, other than cousins in the armed forces, both of my grandfathers, one in the Army, one in the Navy. And their fathers, too.
We love you all. Love you. We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. My first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for your help. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jared.
I stopped the wars. I stopped the best of wars. Nobody stops wars quite how I stopped the wars. They were beautiful wars. And I stopped them, and they became even more beautiful non-wars. Trump is one hell of a entertainer. You have to give that to him.
And I also want to thank the man they report to, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Thank you, Marco.
Oh, something else to point out to you guys. You notice how he isn't using too many really large words. That's by design. That's not because he's not capable of it. It's from design, because most average people in a normal conversation aren't going to use big words because they're not needed. Usually, people who add in big words are just people that are trying to prove they're smarter than they are. Just to point that out. I can understand wanting to use them where it's suited, like in scientific talks or even philosophy debates. I can understand using larger words there, but in normal conversations, unless you're trying to make yourself appear to be better than you are, there's no reason to use terms that regular terms can't replace. Just to point that out. You speak you need to tailor yourself to the audience you're speaking to. I'm not saying that the people watching don't know big words, but the question is, do they use them regularly in conversations? Knowing them and using them is two very different things. I own a gun. I don't use it regularly. I only use it like when I go to the range, like rarely. Or the only time I'll use that gun is when I don't want to have to use that gun. If somebody breaks in and points a gun at me, I'm going to use that gun. But then again, if they're already pointing a gun at me, then I'm not going to exactly be able to grab my gun. So basically, having access to something and using it is two very different things. Just because you can use it doesn't mean you should. Basically, use use whatever best fits the situation.
People like you. You know, Marco got 100% of the votes when he was in confirmation. I think our next one was about 54%. And some of the Democrats are now saying, I can't believe we approved that guy. And he said it's an honor that they feel that way, right, Marco? You have done a great job, great Secretary of State. I think he'll go down as the best ever. Under the ceasefire I negotiated, every single hostage, both living and dead, has been returned home. Can you believe that?
Release the hostages. Release the hostages. If you don't, there'll be consequences. I want to see those hostages. I want to see their bodies, whether breathing or not. Fuck, I'm not good at impressions. I was trying to do Trump there. I think I did more of a Michael Jackson. Now listen. Now listen here. I made them release the hostages. No, I can't do it.
Nobody thought it was possible.
Nobody thought it was
Nobody
possible.
thought that was possible.
Nobody thought that was
Both
possible.
living and dead. And those parents who had a dead son, their boy, they'd always tell me their boy, they wanted him as much as though he were living. That was an amazing period of time. And they came back, and when we got all of the living hostages back, and many, many before
At least
that,
you're going
but
to
I
want the
always said
remains
those
of your
last
loved
20 are going to
ones.
be very tough.
You
but
need
we
to
got
put them to
many,
rest.
many more, hundreds. But I said those last 20 are going to be tough. We got them back. But we only got back 14 or 15 of the dead of the 28. And believe it or not, Hamas worked along with Israel, and they dug and they dug and they dug. It's a tough thing to do, going through bodies all over, passing up 100 bodies sometimes for each one that they found. Tough job. And they finally got it back to 27. And then Steve and Jared, they got it back to 28. They found all 28. Nobody thought that was possible, but we did it. And I remember the family of the 28th. They were so grieved, but they were so happy as it's possible to be. They had their boy back. The mother said, "Sir, we have our boy back." What a period of time that was, but we got them all back. So thank you both very much. Great job.
Here's my policy. You're a terrorist in another country. You kill one of our people. We're going to kill you. Now, here's the nuance. If you return their body to us, we'll leave your body in one piece when we kill you. If you don't return their body to us, your body is not going to be in one piece. That's how I think we should handle it. Just my opinion.
And we're working very hard to end the 9th war the killing and slaughter between Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers are dying each and every month. Think of that, 25,000 soldiers are dying a month. A war which would have never happened if I were president, would have never happened. As president, I will make peace.
I do agree with that. Biden was not a good president. He might have been if he was elected sooner. But by the time he was elected, his mind was too far gone. It was too deteriorated. He might have been a better president if he was younger. I'm not saying he would have been a good president, but he would have been better than he was.
Wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America.
And Russia underestimated Ukraine. They didn't expect the war to last as long as it lasted. And now they can't stop. They can't stop until they're forced to stop now, because their image was already bad. It was already lower than it should be for the rest of the world. If they stop now without achieving anything, the world's going to think they're more of a joke than they already are. Than the world already thinks they are. So basically, Russia will continue to escalate with Ukraine until the rest of us force them to stop.
Wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
Did it take place at night? At midnight?
For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb.
Yeah, they use roadside bombs a lot. My cousin got injured by one over in, I think,
over the
Iraq.
last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like, 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is...
We need to capture another El Presidente.
People. They've already developed missiles that can
Basically,
threaten Europe. And
right
our
now,
bases
Iran
overseas,
should be our
and they're
target.
working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons.
Like a certain bleach knockoff YouTuber says, we need to start capturing one El Presidente a month.
And are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have
Ichigo knockoff VTuber.
My preference.
Not going to say his name. Ah, hell, I'll say his name. Dupsinor.
My preference is to solve this problem through
the guy's funny.
Diplomacy. But
I don't really agree with all the religious bullshit he spouts.
Number one sponsor of terror, which they are by far.
He is funny, makes entertaining
to have a nuclear
videos.
Weapon. Can't let that happen.
Okay. All moisturized.
And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve We have the most powerful military on earth.
I'm not
I
going to
rebuilt
get
the
used to
military
doing
in
this
my
shit
first
daily.
term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective. So thanks to Republicans in Congress, we're investing that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States.
Basically, what we need to do is we need to make sure our armed forces are strong. We need to show that our armed forces are strong, and it will make people fear us. That fear, while it might cause some hostility, will also make people think twice about doing shit that we tell them not to.
States Armed Forces, also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even doing it for that reason.
It's called the carrot
Because,
and
as
the
I said, we
stick.
have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the history of our country. And NATO countries are friends and allies. They are. They're our friends and they're our allies. Have just agreed, at my very strong request, to pay 5% of GDP for military defense rather than the 2%, which they weren't paying. We were paying for almost all of NATO. Now they're paying 5 as opposed to not paying 2. And getting that 5% was something which everyone said would never be done, could not happen. We got it really easily with one meeting. And big difference between 2% that's not paid. We were paying the freight of many of them. Very few were paid up. Now 5%, then they're paid. And everything we send over to Ukraine is sent through NATO, and they pay us in full. They pay us totally in full. Every branch of our armed forces is setting records for recruitment. This is so exciting. And every service member recently.
Joining the armed forces is an excellent idea. If you are starting out and you have no idea what to do. They'll offer a lot of perks, and the best part is you don't require experience and shit like that, but there's huge risks involved. So you have to consider those risks before you join. You can be hurt, you can be killed. You can suffer injuries, both physical and mental. So have all that in mind before you try to join. Just to point that out. Now, not only can you risk dying, there are chances that you might end up having to kill people. Again, you have to have all this in mind and be prepared for it before you join. Not only that, the boot camp is not going to be a walk in the park. Their purpose is to break you down so they can rebuild you. So the boot camps are not going to be they're not going to be enjoyable. Just to point that out. Basically, for a very long time, the jobs that were available were military, construction, demolition, and transportation, as far like trucking, basically. More recently, fast food and retail stores have come in, as well as easy beginner jobs. Basically, jobs that you can get requiring very little experience and shit like that. You can start out working as a trucker with no experience. You can either go to a trucking school or you can join a company that trains you as they go. These are options. They do it. Only problem is a lot of these jobs are now taken by illegals and shit like that.
And every service member recently received a warrior dividend of 1,700.
Now, if you apply for fast food places or convenience stores, you're going to be more likely to be hired if you're female over male, because the customers respond better and buy more when it's a woman serving them than when it's a man. Because with both men and women, they will actually buy more at places like that in order to impress female workers. It's a mentality thing. It's so they're more likely to hire females. Now, military, you're more likely, well, anybody can join, but men are more likely to be accepted. Same thing with trucking. Same thing with construction and demo work. Those are more likely to hire male over female.
$76. You know, they put it on my desk. We got the money from tariffs and other things, a lot of money we have. We have much more money than people understand. Have to rebuild that program a little bit, but it won't take long. But we got the money, and it was $1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, what's the number? $1,775. I said, wait a minute, for one more dollar, we can have $1,776. It's going to... I said, we're going to figure that. I never asked anybody if we could afford it. One more dollar, I said $1,776. And I said, that's good. And I'll tell you what, our military, that was 4 months ago, our military, I never see a person in the military that doesn't thank me for it. So we're honored to do it. They deserve it. And
oh, something else I'll point out. If you know what job you want to get into, before you consider going to college for it, check out some of the local businesses that have that job, and ask them if they have programs where they train on job. And if they do, take the job over going to college. Always. If you want a certain job, always check with businesses in the area to see if they have on-job training over going to college first. Everything will turn out better if you do it that way. Only go to college if it's absolutely required by the work. And if you don't already know what job field you want to go into, don't go to college to decide it. Only go to college if it's required. College is a fucking waste of time.
we call it 1776. It was great.
Unless it's actually required.
And we love our military. We love our law enforcement. We love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned enough. We love our firemen. We're also... We're also restoring American security and dominance in the Western Hemisphere, acting to secure our national interests and defend our country.
I got some of the body lotion on my tongue. It is not pleasant.
From violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference for years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
Not a weapon of mass destruction, but it is an instrument of mass deaths.
And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that.
I'm motivated to finish this off as soon as possible.
We very seriously damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also taken...
I actually enjoyed fishing. I was taking fishing like once. It was really enjoyable. We went trolling. My dad's old boss, somebody who was like a second father to me, basically took us out on his boat and we went trolling. I think it's called trolling. And we were basically fish like that. I don't like to eat fish. My dad loves fish. I don't like fish myself, but I did enjoy fishing. It was really enjoyable. It was him, my dad, and me. We went out fishing together, and one of the best memories of my life.
Taken down one of the most sinister cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday. In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything like it. Foreign leaders, I won't tell you who, called me and they said, very impressive, very good. They couldn't believe, they all watched, they saw what happened. This is a different fighting force than we had years ago when we fought to tie. No, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at
We need to start catching these enemy or these drug cartel El Presidentes like they're Pokemon.
Space Force is my baby, because we did that. My baby is becoming so important.
That'd be interesting. Create a fucking card game with their leaders. Create a card game kind of like Pokemon cards. Only use enemy leaders as the cards, and just basically gotta catch them all.
And America's armed forces overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice. And this was an absolutely colossal victory for the security of the United States, and it also opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, to unleash extraordinary economic gains for both of our countries and to bring new hope to those who have suffered so terribly. They really did suffer. With us tonight is Alejandro Gonzalez. She grew up in a tight-knit Venezuelan family and was especially close to her beloved uncle Enrique. But after Enrique ran for office and opposed Maduro, he was kidnapped by Maduro's security forces and thrown into the regime's really infamous prison in Caracas.
What?
Alejandro feared she would never see her uncle again. She feared for her own life also. But since the raid, we have worked with the new leadership, and they have ordered the closure of that vile prison and released hundreds of political prisoners already, with more to come. Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that not only has your uncle been released, but he is here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down.
Everybody, look beneath your seats. I brought all of your uncles here tonight. An uncle for you, an uncle for you, an uncle for you. Glad that she's reunited with her family, though.
Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique. There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro, really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover, planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter. A big, beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters.
Canuck? Sounds almost like a Canadian name. Not sure though. I know that Canada, well, that Canada, I know Canada has like a hockey team called the Canucks, or the Nooks maybe. I learned that from my Counter-Strike days. I used to be in a Counter-Strike guild and used to play Counter-Strike regularly.
Wearing the dog tags, his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation, protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good?
Pretty useless.
While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces.
Oh, there
And
was
yet,
somebody
despite
injured.
the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine guns stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission. We probably would have had to maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen. Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded, but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out.
Okay.
The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take the searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing, and people knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife Amy, Eric, and Amy, come on in. So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga
Medal of Honor?
to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Nice. Being able to get that medal when you're alive is actually quite a feat. Usually it's given to the deceased. There's only one change I would have made on this. And that is, if I was Trump, I'd have walked up to the guy and put it on him myself. And thank the guy for his service to our country for making it safe.
Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg, we have it back, we brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House. And
why the hell would they change the name off of what it was originally? Fucking makes no sense. If you want to name a fucking fort a new name, build a new fucking fort.
Eric will do that. Thank you, Eric. That's a big one. Tonight we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go. He is one more heroic American aviator, Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was a legend long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor.
I agree with this. Personally, I'd prefer Melania giving me the medal over Trump any day. I think anybody would. Even though I just said that it would mean more if Trump gave it himself. Yeah, as I said earlier, I slept wrong. My back is fucked right now. It's been fucking warm. Got myself a tea bottle. Just need to add filtered water in a tea bag.
Thank you, Royce, and thank you, Eric. I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday. But you know, that's our highest honor, Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big thing, and it's an honor to be in the same room with you. Thank you both very much, Eric.
You have to have been in the military to get it, so Trump is not eligible for it.
Thank you. 250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together, we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies. And we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel. And then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world.
Yeah, American culture does spread out through most of the rest of the world. So if something's popular in America, give it like between 2 to 5 years and it will be popular in other places in the world. not many places have had such an effect, except maybe Japan. Japan's anime and stuff spread pretty damn far. Their entertainment.
All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs.
Basically, if you want to see how much a country's affected the other world, look at their media exports. Uh, Basically, not many nations have a bunch of other nations taking in their media. I think maybe just America and Japan. Recently, China's been getting in there with like their Wukong game and shit. But yeah, trying to think of other places that might have had it just as much of an effect. Maybe India with their scammers, because they call every nation. Hello, you have won lots of money. I just need your credit card information.
For years, they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer.
Line from a movie. Do you know the hardest part about creating a miracle? Making it look like an accident.
No dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us
I
to
believe
climb.
that was from the
For our
movie
destiny
Michael.
is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250
I think Michael was the
years
name of
were
that
just
movie.
the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us.
Guys, if you ever come to America, try to travel as much as possible because America isn't like other nations. Each state and each county has its independent culture. So you might get a completely different experience from being in San Bernardino County than LA County. A different experience between being in California and Florida. Basically, there's a bunch of different cultures and a bunch of different people spread out through the entire country, and it won't be the same even in the same state, let alone different states. So if you do come here, uh, basically look up the stuff, decide what you want to see before you come here, and basically look up the best places to experience that before you come here, and plan your trip based on what you want to see. Okay, 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 okay.
The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
The unacceptable excesses of poor leadership band together
Oh,
to
that was the end
demand
of it?
better of their government and create a nation that would be an example for the world. And this year, as we celebrate 250 years since America declared our independence from tyranny, I can think of no better place to speak to you as we reflect on the current state of our union.
Who's this lady?
Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of Congress, we did not hear the truth from our president. So let's speak plainly and honestly. And let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family?
Yes.
Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad?
Yes.
Is the president working for you? As I campaigned for governor last year, I traveled to every corner of Virginia, and I heard the same pressing concern everywhere. Costs are too high in housing, healthcare, energy, and childcare. And I know these same conversations are being had all across this country.
So you want the federal government to take care of that stuff that should be done on the state level. Understood.
Because since this president took office last year, his reckless trade policies have forced American families to pay more than $1,700 each in tariff costs. Small businesses have suffered, farmers have suffered, some losing entire markets. Everyday Americans are paying the price. And even though the Supreme Court struck these tariffs down 4 days ago, the damage to us, the American people, has already.
That is wrong. The tariffs were not struck down. The way he implemented them were struck down. Not only did they not actually strike them down, they told them the right way to implement them. Let's get that straight right now. Tariffs are not a bad thing. They're something that's required. America's had tariffs on it for a long time, and we're going back to what we used to do. America used to put tariffs on things. Those tariffs were taken away at some point for some reason. All Trump is doing is reapplying something that was already originally there. Just to make that straight.
Been done. Meanwhile, the president is planning for new tariffs, another massive tax hike on you and your family.
That is not how it works. The purpose of a tariff is to basically encourage buying domestic over broad. They want, basically, it's making it to where the prices of the homemade stuff can compete with the prices of the over the stuff from other countries, because the other countries don't have the same limitations as ours as far as workforce goes. You think China cares about the conditions that people are working? You think China cares about a minimum wage? They don't. So they're able to mass produce products for cheaper than we can. So there's no way for our people to compete with them in price because the workforce is just so much fucking cheaper there. So the tariffs end up addressing that issue. That's the whole point behind it. But I don't think this dumb bitch actually wants to let you know why the tariffs are there or why they're making the effects they are. She just wants to create fucking outrage for no fucking reason.
And Republicans in Congress, they remain unwilling to assert their constitutional authority to stop him. They're making your life harder. They're making your life more expensive. They're even making it more difficult to see a doctor. Rural health clinics in Virginia and across the country are already closing their doors thanks to the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, championed by the president and Republicans in Congress.
Again, this is stuff that should be covered by the state, not the federal.
And tonight, the president celebrated this law, the one threatening rural hospitals, stripping health care from millions of Americans and driving up costs in energy and housing, all while cutting food programs for hungry kids.
That is bullshit. The food programs aren't actually being cut. The ones that are being denied payment is because they fucking allowed abuse to happen in a rampant manner. Sorry. So basically, she's full of shit.
But here in Virginia, I am working with our state legislature to lower costs and make the Commonwealth more affordable.
As you should be. That's your fucking job as their fucking leader. That's what you were elected to do. It isn't the rest of the nation's responsibility to fucking take care of your state. All the other states aren't responsible for your state. That's your fucking responsibility. Yeah, they should help out if it's needed. But the primary care should be provided by you with your dumb smirk.
And it's not just me. Democrats across the country are laser focused on affordability in our nation's capital and in state capitals and communities across America. In the most innovative and exceptional nation in the history of the world, Americans deserve to know that their leaders are focused on addressing the problems that keep them up at night. Problems that dictate where you live, whether you can afford to start a business or whether you have to skip a prescription in order to buy groceries. So I'll ask again, is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family?
Well, given that the president's the only one trying to fucking take care of the fucking rampant fucking price hikes of medicine, I'd say yes, you dumb bitch.
We all know the
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. I'd say yes, ma'am.
answer is no. I grew up in a house of service. My mother was a nurse, and my father was a career law enforcement officer. I began my career by following in my father's footsteps as a federal agent, working money laundering and narcotics cases. I worked side by side with local and state police to keep our community safe and to uphold and enforce the law. Law enforcement officers across the country know that it is a unique responsibility to do the serious work of investigating crimes, comforting victims, and making arrests.
A law enforcement's job is not to comfort the victims. They shouldn't be overly insensitive, but their job is not to comfort. Law enforcement's job is to solve the fucking crime. It's to stink and prevent the crime. It's not to comfort. That is not their fucking job. That's not their position. Just to make that clear. The law enforcement is not there to comfort you. They are not your fucking security blanket. They're there to protect you, not to comfort you. You want comfort? Go to your family, go to your church, go to your friends. It's not the law enforcement's job to fucking comfort you. It's their job to protect you. There's a fucking difference. Comfort is not protection.
It's about building trust, and that requires an abiding sense of duty and commitment to community. And yet, our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities.
They're not poorly trained. The reason why shit is going out of hand is because of the fucking local fucking cities not cooperating like they're supposed to. Local cities are supposed to hold the illegal immigrants that are taken into custody. They're supposed to be turning them over. They are not supposed to fucking help them escape. They're not supposed to fucking refuse to hand them over. That's not how things work. You want the federal government to fucking bail you out. You want them to help you, but you are not willing to help them in return. Basically, all the shit that's happening with ICE could have been avoided if you guys would have done your part. You're not. The problem is you. It's not the federal government.
Where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans. And they have done it with...
They're aspiring to be Americans in the wrong ways. They want to be Americans by simply occupying the American states. They don't want to actually incorporate and actually become Americans. They just want to live in America. There's a difference. Stop trying to fucking conflate one for the other. It's not how it is.
Without a warrant. They have ripped...
They don't need warrants. It's different fucking forms of law. Their warrant is basically the immigration thing. Immigration is not fucking criminal. It's not all that. It's fucking. It's different fucking structures. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this well. The only time they need a warrant is when they're entering a private residence.
Nursing mothers away from their babies, they have sent children, a little boy in a blue bunny hat, children to far-off detention centers, and they have killed American.
Why not fucking say the truth? They tried to return that boy to his family and they wouldn't open the door. So they had to take him. They couldn't just leave him on the fucking doorstep. They couldn't just leave him in a random fucking place. And as for the people you're about to say were killed, one of them drove her car at somebody after fucking stalking and impeding them all day. The other one fucking got physical with the federal agents, was carrying a gun. Basically, somebody yelled gun after taking the gun. The guy reaches for his fucking waistband, and when his hand comes up, he's holding something that's dark and long. It's his phone, but how the fuck were they supposed to know that in the heat of the moment? This bitch, this woman, her lines are all bullshit. She's basically trying to stoke your emotions to trigger outrage, so you side with her and basically ignore what actually happened. She's not explaining what actually happened.
Citizens in our streets, and they have done it all with their faces masked from accountability.
Yeah, because the people like you are getting people to go to their homes and attack their families, which is why the mask is required. They still wear the uniforms. They're identified as ICE. They should always be required to wear visible badges. I agree with that. I also believe all law enforcement should be required to wear body cams. Again, arrange for the funding and have it done. And get that fucking stupid smirk off your face. Never trust people who smirk like that. Because they're trying to manipulate you. Anybody that grew up in a political family, anybody that grew up in a Carney family or anything like that will recognize that fucking smirk. This is a person that's trying to manipulate you.
Every minute spent sowing fear is a minute not spent investigating murders,
Then why are you trying to sow fear?
crimes against children, or the criminals defrauding seniors of their life savings. Our president told us tonight that we are safer.
We are.
Because these agents arrest mothers and detain children?
They're illegal. And again, the smile. Never trust people that smile like that.
Think about that. Our broken immigration system is something to be fixed, not an excuse for unaccountable agents to terrorize our communities.
Then hand over them yourselves so that agents don't have to go to your city. Simple, isn't it? Simple fix. Real easy fix. She's not willing to do it because she doesn't actually care. She just wants to use this to get votes. She wants to use this to get authority and power. That's all that's behind it.
After working in law enforcement, I continued my career of service as a CIA officer, working undercover to
Again, CIA. Yeah, very trustworthy. People trust the CIA.
protect the United States and our allies from global threats, terrorism, nuclear weapons, and the aggression of adversarial nations around the globe.
Honest question, guys. How many of you, when you think of the CIA, think of America being protected?
But as the president spoke of his
The CIA is about control, not protection. At least in image-wise.
perceived successes tonight, he continues to cede economic power and technological strength to Russia, bow down to
More Russia bullshit. It didn't stick the first time, and they're trying it again and again and again. They keep trying to make shit stick, and it doesn't stick. They're slowly losing all their power, and they're desperate to fucking regain it.
China, bow down to a Russian dictator, and make plans for war with Iran. Here's the truth. Over the last year,
Yeah, way better than giving in to them, bowing down to their feet, and giving them what was it, billions of dollars?
through Doge, mass firings, and the appointment of deeply unserious people to our nation's most serious positions.
Yeah, because you're so fucking serious, woman.
Our president has endangered the long and storied history of the United States of America being a force for good.
It is a force for good. And again, the fucking smirk. You cannot trust a smirk. People who have that fucking smirk when they're talking about shit like this. That smirk. When you're watching somebody who's trying to manipulate you, look for that. You'll see it often. Trust me.
So I'll ask again, is the president working to keep Americans safe?
Yes.
Both at home and abroad?
Yes.
We all know the answer is no.
The answer is yes.
In his speech tonight, the president did what he always does. He lied, he scapegoated, and he distracted.
He did not lie. He did overstate things a bit, but they weren't actual lies. They don't fall under lies. Basically like saying, say I hit a strength deal and I got a 98. I basically overestimated, like, I got 100. That's what Trump was doing. That's normal. Everybody does it. They overstate what they did. Now, she's trying to frame it as bold-faced lies when it's not. It's just slightly overstating. It's not actually a lie. It's just not the whole truth. All politicians do that. She's doing that right now.
And he offered no real solutions to our nation's pressing challenges.
It's a State of the Union. He's explaining the State of the Union.
So many of which he is actively making worse.
He's actively making your fucking employees for power worse. You want extra fucking people to get extra seats. You want extra people just for the extra funding, which you also get. You just want to increase and again, the fucking smirk. You can't trust people with that fucking smirk.
To divide us. He tries to enrage us, to pit us against one another, neighbor against neighbor. And sometimes he succeeds. And so you have to ask, who benefits from his rhetoric, his policies, his actions, the short list of laws he's pushed through this Republican Congress? Somebody must be benefiting.
Thing is, I'm not even a Trump guy. I think he's the best choice we have currently, but if I had to choose, he would not be. If I had a better choice, I'd choose somebody else. But she's fucking obvious in her bias. She's obvious in her basically bold-faced lies.
He's enriching himself, his family, his friends. The scale of the corruption is unprecedented.
Anybody who invests in a well-running system will enrich themselves. If his family is enriching themselves, it's not actually him doing it. It's just them taking advantage. Let me just put it this way. The ways in which the Trump family is enriching themselves. Can other families enrich themselves in the same way? Yes. As long as they fucking invest properly. That's just how it is. And this lady's just trying to fucking say, oh, they're making money. Well, yeah, everybody can make money as long as they invest properly. The only thing is you have to know what to invest in and where to invest.
There's the cover-up of the Epstein files, the crypto scams.
It's not a fucking cover-up. The fucking files are being released. And again, I don't mean to do what ifs, but the files, you guys didn't care about this when Biden was in office. You didn't care about this when Obama was in office. You didn't care about this when Clinton was in office. You care about it now as a one-up on Trump. You don't actually care about the people that were hurt. You don't care about the files themselves. You want to make Trump look bad. That's the only reason you're sticking to the Epstein files like you are. The reason why more people aren't being prosecuted is because they don't believe that the charges will stick. They want to get solid fucking cases before they implement them.
Cozying up to foreign princes for airplanes and billionaires for ballrooms, putting his name and face on buildings all over our nation's capital. This is not what our founders envisioned, not by a long shot.
The entire nation's not what the founders envisioned. Stop bringing up what the founders envisioned when everything has completely gone away from that. The founders never envisioned the people voting for president. The people were never supposed to be able to vote for the president. The people were supposed to vote on state level, and the states were supposed to assign the president. That's how it was supposed to work. Things were never supposed to be how they are now. The actual ruling class were supposed to be the local class, with federal classes, with the larger classes being assigned later on, well, assigned by the states. So basically the states are supposed to select the people who run the states and the people who represent the states in Congress. Now, Congress and the Senate was the ones that were supposed to be electing the president, not the people through votes. That's not how it was originally supposed to be. The entire system right now is not how it was imagined by the founders. Stop bringing this up.
So I'll ask again, is the president working for you? We all know the answer is no.
The answer is yes.
But here's the special thing about America. On our 250th anniversary, we know better than any nation what is possible when ordinary citizens, like those who once dreamed right here in this room, reject the unacceptable and demand more of their government. We see it in the determination of students organizing school walkouts all across the country, whose voice...
Again, she's fucking happy about this. Students should not be walking out of school to fucking partake in politics. The students can't even fucking vote in the politics. You want them to participate in the politics? Give them the ability to vote in the fucking elections. Give them the ability to decide shit on their own. Basically, give them the ability to drink, give them the ability to choose if they want to sleep with people, give them the ability to vote. Otherwise, if you're not willing to do that, shut the fuck up.
Voices are becoming so powerful that the governor of Texas seeks to silence them. We see it in the bravery of Americans in Minnesota standing up for their communities, from peacefully protesting in sub-zero temperatures to carpooling children to school, so that their immigrant parents are not ripped away from them.
Students belong in school. They do not belong out in the streets fucking protesting. That is not how it should be. That's not how it needs to be. All you're doing is indoctrinating children. That's exactly what you're doing. You're grooming them.
In the parking lot. As a mother of 3 school-aged daughters, I am inspired by...
And again, the problem is not immigrant parents. The problem is illegal immigrant parents. You can't trust this lady. She's trying to deceive you. She's trying to con you. You can tell by her body language. You can tell by the sly smile. Anybody that has any experience with people like this can tell.
By their bravery. But I am sickened that it is necessary. And Americans across the country are taking action. They are going to the ballot box to reject this chaos. With their votes, they are writing a new story, a more hopeful story. In November, I won my election by 15 points.
Good for you. You won an election in a state that's biased towards your group. Good job. Good job. Your group of friends elected you as the person in top. That must have been so hard for you. Now try to attract people that aren't in your same bubble. Try to get people to vote for you that don't already agree with you. See how that goes.
And we won 13 new seats in our state legislature.
Sure you did.
Because voters decided they wanted something different. Our campaign earned votes from Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everyone in between. Because they knew as citizens they could demand more, that they could vote for what they believe matters, and that they didn't need to be constrained by a party or political affiliation.
I agree completely with that. In fact, I don't think people should be allowed to vote because what you want, what you think is best for you, is not always what is best for society. It's not best for the nation. That's why people should not have the ability to select their leaders. People will always put themselves first. You need to realize what is best for you is not what is best for society. What is best for you is not what is best for your nation. That's not how things work. Basically, your leader should be selected by a group of people that know what is required at the time to get the best results in progress, in leadership. Now, the ability the people should have is the ability to remove the leaders that are doing a bad job. Basically, people's voting should be reactionary. It should not be selecting and assigning the leaders. It should be removing them when they're not doing a proper job. That's how things should be. And this should be applied throughout the entire system. A judge doing a bad job, you should be able to vote to remove them. A bad policy gets implemented, you should be able to vote to remove it. That's how things should be. People voting to put people in when they don't actually realize what is best suited for a society, that shouldn't be a thing. That's just not how it should be. People like this woman should never be in a leadership position because she doesn't care what is best for the society. She cares what's best for her. She cares about what's best for her group instead of society as a whole. And she will implement everything she can to uplift that narrow group instead of the larger group.
This is happening across the country. New Jersey elected Mikey Sherrill as governor in a double-digit victory. Democrats flipped state legislative seats in places like Georgia, Iowa, Mississippi, and Texas. The list goes on and on. Ordinary Americans.
And yeah, that has nothing to do with people fleeing from places like California and moving to Texas. I'm sure that doesn't, again, that fucking smile annoys me so much. Not just anybody having a smile like that. I'll automatically assume they're fucking trying to con me.
Are stepping up to run in this.
I'm not a trusting person by default. I don't trust people automatically. Trust needs to be earned. And just this woman is just radiating don't trust her vibes to me.
Spirit of our forefathers. They are running to demand more and to do more for their neighbors.
If a person smiles at you like this, they're smiling at you like this because they're trying to shove a penis up your ass. That's what the smile is about. That's why they're smiling like that. They're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to control you. That's what the smile is about.
And communities. I know this story well. I first ran for office in 2018 alongside dozens of other Democrats who did the seemingly impossible, flipping 41 seats in Congress. In my case, I was the first Democrat elected in 50 years, swinging our district 17 points. Those who are stepping up now.
I don't know shit about her state, so I might be wrong about the group thing electing her. But I think if we look at it carefully, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. I'd have to check into it.
To run will win in November Because Americans, you at home, know you can demand more. And
But as I said, just her body language, the way she's acting, it's basically yelling somebody's trying to con me.
that we are working to lower costs. We are working to keep our communities and our country safe, and we are working for you.
You see, this is another difference. I'm willing to admit I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I'll have to check in it to find out if I'm sure. As I said, I don't even know who this lady is. But she makes me uncomfortable with the way she speaks, with the way she acts. The smile is getting to me. The smirk.
In his farewell address, George Washington warned us about the possibility of, quote, cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men rising to power. But he also encouraged us, all Americans, to unite in a common cause, to move this nation forward. That is our charge once more, and that is what we are seeing across the country. It is deeply American and patriotic to do so, and it is how we ensure that the state of our union remains strong, not just this year, but for the next 250 years as well, because we, the people, have the power to make change, the power to stand up for what is right, the power to demand more of our nation.
Let me give you guys some advice. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, whenever you're listening to somebody talk to you, if they're a politician, again, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, assume they're lying to you. Always assume they're lying to you. Always fact check them, no matter what side they're on. And if they smile like she's doing when they don't need to, be even more cautious.
May God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia, and may God bless the United States of America.
Okay. That was weird to be tacked on to the end of this, especially considering that this is Fox News. I don't mind watching it, but the lady really fucking annoyed me. It's not exactly what she said, but how she said it. As I said, I grew up on a fucking traveling carnival. And she has the same mannerisms as all the fucking people who were conning the people who came into playing the games, even though the games were rigged. Always assume that your politicians are lying to you. Always assume that any Democrat, any Republican, always assume that Trump is lying. Assume he's lying through his teeth. And then take what he says and check it yourself. Hell, go to Grok and say, Trump claimed this. Give me arguments for and against why this might be true. Always look at both sides. Always add for and against. Like, they gave me this policy. Give me arguments for and against this policy. Go to Grok, go to ChatGPT whenever you hear a policy, and basically ask for arguments for and against. That's how it always goes. If you want to decide on a politician, again, just go to like Google or something, or any AI, and ask for arguments for and against them. And then basically look at the information between those arguments, and then use your own mind. Don't use the arguments that you're given. Use your own mind after incorporating those arguments and make your choice. That's how it should be. That's how it always should be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end things here. This is my reaction to the State of the Union. Now, I might have come off as an idiot. I might have come off as emotional. I might have come off as too serious. But this is my opinion off for everything. This is my take on it. So, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, most likely. Enjoyed spending time with you guys. Enjoyed the conversation. I did find a good position to sit in where the pain in my back wasn't obvious, so I'm happy about that. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. So later, guys.